Hello everybody and welcome back to the Bourbon Bar. I'm Holden and today I'm bringing you guys a video of 5 of the most overhyped or overrated whiskeys I have or have tried to date. Now this could pertain to anything. It could pertain to the price that people are willing to pay for it. It could pertain to how hard it is to find it. A lot of different things go up into it, but basically the gist of this is the bottles that people are looking for all the time and people search for day in and day out, that once I got it and I was super happy that I got it and tasted it, I realized why do people pay so much money for this? Why do people look for this? And some of these whiskeys are good and some aren't as good, but like no matter what, it all comes down to why do people pay so much for this and why is it so impossible to find? But that being said, starting off with number 5 on our list, I'm sure you guys could probably guess this one because it's very obvious, but number 5 is going to be Buffalo Trace. Now, this is just your main Buffalo Trace, and honestly guys, Buffalo Trace is good. I like Buffalo Trace. The problem with it is it's not $50 good. It's not $60 good. Like, people are paying dumb prices for this stuff, just because like a lot of people just like it. And yeah, it's good whiskey, especially for the $26, $27-ish that you should be paying for it if you get it for retail. But why are people hoarding this and stockpiling this for $40 a bottle? I'll never understand. I actually got kicked out of a store one time because I was having a simple chat with someone about how much I think Buffalo Trace is worth. And I told him outright, and he was a store owner, I told him outright that Buffalo Trace's MSRP is $26, $27-ish a bottle. That's what it is, that's what it's worth, and that's all I'm willing to pay for it. And I wasn't trying to buy from him, I wasn't trying to talk him down on the prices. We were simply having a conversation, and he got so mad. He insisted that $40 a bottle was a steal from Buffalo Trace, and he got so mad that he kicked me out of the store. And while kicking me out, he said, you go find somewhere selling Buffalo Trace for that $26 or $27 a bottle, and you come back and tell me. So later that day, I went to a different liquor store where I actually did find some Buffalo Trace. It was listed for $28 a bottle. And you guys can bet that I called him back and let him know. But that being said, Buffalo Trace is number 5 on our list. Now, number 4 on our list isn't necessarily bad whiskey, and I honestly wouldn't even call it super overhyped, but I do feel like there's a small following behind this bottle, especially in the beginner world, that I think is warranted, but at the same time, maybe it could be a little bit overhyped. And that bottle is Angel's Envy. This is a normal offering, the 86 proof one that you see on the shelves all the time. And I actually was so happy when I got this bottle, and like I'm like, oh my gosh, I like whiskey, I love bourbon, blah blah blah. And yeah, it was cool, especially as a beginner getting into it. I'm like, it's a port finish. Is that something I like? The bottle's cool. It's got, you know, the wings on the back and stuff like that. You know, it's a cool bottle of whiskey. It's a little bit more expensive. It makes you kind of feel fancy when you buy it, but that's just it. I mean, you go into any kind of bars, at least in Wisconsin, and you go to the bars that they have more than your typical rail alcohol, but they have like they dabble in the bourbon world, right? And they always have a bottle of Buffalo Trace and a bottle of Angel's Envy, and maybe a bottle of Woodford or two, but like Woodford's, you know, it's good for the price. I can't even complain about that. But I think that like people kind of like hold this on a certain pedestal because it looks cool. The gist of it's cool. It's elegant, classy. It's Angel's Envy. It's something like you would see some hipster drinking this in his leather jacket, slick back hair. Like, I don't know. It kind of like makes you feel cool, right? But at the end of the day, it's just okay whiskey. And in the bottle, like, there's a lot of people that go nuts for this. It's not, like I said, it's not super, super overhyped, but I do think there's a small cult following behind this that shouldn't be there. That doesn't always apply though, because they have some great stuff. And like I said, this is great too, but their cask strength is even better. The cask strength is awesome. But that is number 4 on our list. I don't know if I called it number 2 or number 4, but we're working our way down. This is number 4. That being said, number 3 on our list is going to be one that definitely got overhyped kind of in the last couple years, and I know a lot of people are going to probably disagree with me on this, but that one is going to be Henry McKenna 10-year. Guys, I don't know what to say. The fact that This stuff became so hard to find after, I'm pretty sure Fred Minnick put it as whiskey of the year one year. And then after that, nobody could find it, and places were selling it for like $100 a bottle. Like, that's completely unnecessary, in my opinion. I feel like it's not one of those things that you need to search high and low for. Yeah, it's good whiskey, but honestly, it's not even my favorite 10-year that I think Eagle Rare tastes better than this. And, you know, that is hard to find, but at least when I found it, I was like, oh, dang, this is really good, and, you know, whatever. But this is like, I never understood quite why it was so hard to find and why people held it on such a high pedestal. And I always think it's funny when liquor stores will put these things in the case or on the back shelf or behind the counter, because it's like, does it really belong there? Is it really one of those bottles that people like really search for? Well, yeah, it is. Do I think it should be one of those bottles that people really search for? Meh, maybe. But my opinion is it's just not worth the huge hunt that you're gonna have to use to find it. So that being said, that one is number 3. Number 2 on our list is working its way towards something a little bit more expensive. And when I say a little bit more expensive, I mean quite a bit more expensive. And part of that overhypeness of it is probably having to do with the price, but it's a pretty popular one that's incredibly hard to find. And that is High West, a Midwinter Night's Dram. So, a Midwinter Night's Dram, it's so sought after that it's almost impossible to find for some people. And it was very hard for me to find as well. It's just that what happened is these bottles were, I don't know, 90, 100 bucks a bottle, maybe, or something like that. I'm not sure what the exact price was, but these things were cheap. And then thanks to a certain junkie out there, these things skyrocketed in like people looking for it. So all of a sudden these things never appeared on the shelves anymore. And High West, while it sucks, but it's not their fault. It's not dumb of them to raise the price, but they saw the fact that everyone wanted to buy it, and so they raised the price on it. So now it's a $150 bottle of whiskey, and it's simply not, in my opinion, worth that much money. I don't think that if you guys, unless you guys are really into that port finished rye whiskey, like, yeah, there's some bomb-ass whiskey in here, but $150 bomb-ass whiskey, especially for how hard it is to find it, you know, I think it could have been better. I think that in the grand scheme of things, this is really cool and really awesome, but if you could get a finished double rye or a different finished High West product, or even something else that's port finished rye from a different company, I think you could find some things that compare to this that don't cost $150. That's just my opinion. Guys can let me know all the hate in the comments, but that's what I think. Alright, now before we get to that number 1 most overrated, overhyped bottle, I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys to hit that like button, and also if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that. We just hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'd love to keep growing, so guys, hit the subscribe button. And also, let me know in the comments what you think about my list, if there's any you think I should add, or if this next bottle really pisses you off. That being said, the number 1 bottle on the most overhyped, overrated whiskeys in the game, in my opinion, is Blantons. Okay, guys, is anybody shocked by this? The most hated and loved bottle, I think, in the bourbon world. Like, if you guys don't know what Blantons is, you live under a literal rock. And there's 2 sides to every story. The side that loves Blantons because they don't drink whiskey very often, and this is fancy and cool, and yes, it is fancy. It comes in a cool bottle. It is a single barrel. It has this cool horse top that, you know, like, it's cool, right? But then you have the people that actually drink it and actually talk about the whiskey. And the people who have actually had whiskeys that are far superior than this. What does this retail at? $65, give or take. What is it worth? $65, give or take. What do people pay for it? $200, $300, $400. I mean, people pay obnoxious amounts of money for a Blantons, and it's insane. This bottle is not worth that much money. I don't know how else to put it, but this bottle is just simply not worth it. I think that the juice inside of it is good. Even in a blind, I'll tell you it's good whiskey. And it is. It is nowhere near $100, $150 or $200 or anything over that. It's nowhere near that price range for what it's worth. It's just not, in my opinion. That being said, guys, I know there's going to be people in here in the comments just typing away, holding to what we're talking about. This bottle is like the creme de la creme of bourbon, blah, blah, blah. Sure, maybe to you. But to a lot of people out there, when you have a lot of other whiskeys that you can drink, it's simply not worth it. I mean, every whiskey up here, apart from maybe these two, so both of these two whiskeys, I think, are better than the Blantons, in my opinion. This one is worth significantly more, and this one isn't worth as much, but it still tastes better, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, I don't think Blantons are worth it. That's the number one most overrated bottle, in my opinion. But that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like I said, this is my opinion. I know that everyone has different palates, and some people may really enjoy all these whiskeys up here, especially for the price, and they're going to be super ecstatic that they got it. I'm not saying that you can't be. I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't like these whiskeys, but I'm telling you from my experience, what I think is that all these whiskeys up here are a bit overhyped. So please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let me know in the comments how big of an idiot I am. That being said, we'll see you all in the next class.